All right, today we're going to talk about 10(3), which is multiplying polynomials. So we'll still be using our exponent rules, we'll still be multiplying numbers. For our warm-up today, again, if you want to pause the video, I'm going to go ahead and show you the answers. So when I take 12x to the third times 3x squared, 4 times 3 would give me 12, and then it should be x to the fifth. When I multiply the y by y plus 3, I need to distribute, so become y squared plus 3y. Similar, when I do the negative 2x, I would get negative 8x, and I would get a positive, because negative times negative makes a positive, 2x to the third power. And then for the last one, I'll distribute the x through to get x squared minus 2x. And then I'll distribute the 2 through to get 2x minus 4, and I can simplify. If I notice here I have two x terms, so I'd get x squared, and then they actually cancel because negative 2 plus 2x is 0, minus 4 would be my simplified answer. Our goals today is to be able to use the box or the FOIL method. Again, the keyword is or. So when we learn how to multiply today, if there's one that you prefer over the other, please use that. So on slide 45, we have our first example. It says binomials can be multiplied horizontally or using the box method. So we're going to use the box method first to multiply to x minus 2 and x plus 6. So when we do the box method, please pay attention. So the first one, when I have x minus 2, I'm going to put x in one box and minus 2 in the other, or on top of the other box. And then similar on the side, if I have x plus 6, I put x here, and then plus 6 in the next row. From this point, I just multiply it together. So I take x times x, which gives me x squared. Then I take x times negative 2 to give me negative 2x. Then I take x times 6 to give me 6x. And lastly, I take negative 2 times 6 to give me negative 12. From here, if I look at everything in the box, I have x squared, I have a negative 2x, I have a positive 6x, and a negative 12. I can go ahead and then combine like terms, which typically are always on the diagonals, but if not, you can always write it out. And then when I combine my like terms, I would get x squared plus 4x minus 12. Now I know I went through that fast because I'm on a video, but if you need to pause and kind of look to see how it compares, we're going to continue to do this method. On slide 46, I want you to try to set it up. It doesn't matter which one goes on the side. So like for this one, if I have x minus 5, I can do x minus 5 on the side. And then I can do x minus 10 on the top. It does not matter as long as they stick together. So then when I multiply, I get x times x, which will give me x squared. So if I take x times the x box, I get x squared. When I take x times the negative 5, I would get negative 5x. I take x times negative 10, I get negative 10x. And if I take negative 10 and negative 5, I would get positive 50, because a negative times a negative is a positive. Again, when I write out what I have, x squared minus 10x minus 5x plus 50, I then get to combine like terms. So x squared minus 15x plus 50 is what my new polynomial becomes. Now, this is something that I would encourage you to do. I think the box method is the easiest method. So on your paper, every time you would just draw a box, and you would put like x minus 10 and x minus 5, and then you would just multiply and get your answer for each square, and then combine like terms. I think that is the easiest way for you guys to keep track and do it correctly. So after I show you this next method, you get to pick. So I'll just be showing the answers, and then you'll have to kind of check with the sub or check with your friend near you to see if you guys got the same thing or kind of see where you went wrong. I might do both. It just kind of depends on the question. So the other concept that you can use, again, applying the same thing. So for the box method, we are multiplying these two things together. We're not adding them, we're not subtracting them, we are multiplying them. The other method we can use is called the FOIL method, which I don't love the term. FOIL just means that we're going to use the distributive property twice. We're going to use the double distribute property. So what I want you to notice before I talk about what FOIL even means or what's on this paper is that this x term gets multiplied to the x, but also the 6 in the other set of parentheses, and that the -2 term gets multiplied again to the x and the 6. So what you're doing is you're just taking the polynomial and you're multiplying it by each thing in the other polynomial. So when I look at the first terms that I'm being multiplied by, I'm taking x times x, which is going to give me x squared. Then I look at, again, I'm multiplying x times the 6 in this set of parentheses, and when I do that I get x times +6, which is 6x. Now I'm switching, right? I'm multiplying the -2 times the x for the inner terms. So -2 times x is -2x. And then lastly, I multiply the -2 times the 6 to give me -12. Now the nice part is, just like before, I'll still combine like terms. So I'd get x squared plus 4x minus 12 as my answer. Okay. Now when I do it again on the next slide and I multiply x minus 5 times x minus 10, I'm going to use double distribute. So what that means is this x term gets multiplied to both the x and the -10. That gives me x squared minus 10x. Now similarly, I'm going to take the -5 and I'm going to multiply it by the x and the -10 as well. Again, -5x plus 50. When I look at this and combine my like terms, I get x squared minus 15x plus 50. From here, you get to pick which method you like. Whether you prefer the box or FOIL, I do not care. I'm going to show you how to do the box on the next examples. I am not going to show you how to do FOIL. Okay, so you get to pick which method you pick to solve these. So on slide 49, I'm going to use the box method. If you want to do FOIL, our answers should be the same. So no matter what method you pick, the answer is the same. Okay, so pause the video. I want you to try. If you're not sure what to do, you can follow me. So I'm going to start by drawing a box. And then I'm going to put the first term, 2a minus 12, on the top. And then the second set of parentheses, 5a plus 3 on the side. And then I multiply. So 5 times 2a is 10a squared. And then 5a times -12a is going to give me -60a. Then I'm going to multiply 3 and 2a to get 6a. And 3 times -12 to give me -36. Again, when I write out my answers, I would have 10a squared minus 60a plus 6a minus 36. When I combine like terms, I'd get 10a squared minus 56a minus 36, and that is my answer. So again, if you did FOIL or the double distribution, it might look differently, but our answers are the same. I'm going to do the same thing on slide 50. This time, everybody needs to pause the video. I would like you to try it on your own. And then hit play when you're ready. So I'm going to take the 3x minus 4, put it on top, 4x minus 10, put it on the side, and then I'm going to start multiplying. So 3x times 4x is going to give me 12x squared. 4x times -4 is -16x. 3x times -10 is -30x. And -4 times -10 is +40. Again, when I write out my terms, I would have 12x squared minus 16x minus 30x plus 40. Put together what's alike, I get 12x squared minus 46x plus 40, and that's my final answer. Alrighty. From here, it does tell you that you can use FOIL to check, but if you would rather just do it on your own, you can. I don't really care what method you pick. I'm actually going to skip slides 51 and 52. If you want to do them on your own, you can. But I just feel like it works out better if we just keep moving on. So for the next one, we are looking at the area of a rectangle where we multiply the length times the width. So when you look at this problem, we're multiplying the width, which is 5y minus 5, times the length, which is 2y plus 6. So it's pretty much the same thing we're doing. It's saying multiply these two things together. Oh, I guess it'd go the other way. So it would be the length, which is 2y plus 6, times the width, which is 5y minus 5. So again, if you want to pause the video, do your box method, whatever you choose. Your answer, if you do it on the next slide, when you actually multiply, these two go together. I want you to pause the video and try to find your answer. When you find your answer, it should be 10y squared plus 20y minus 30. And again, if I was to do this, I would have done the box method where I would put 2y plus 6 and 5y minus 5 on the side, and I would get my like terms. So it'd be, it would be the 10y squared, the 30y, the negative 10y, and negative 30. So when I put all my terms together, this would be my answer. If you would like to try 55, again, we're going to be looking at that. So 55 and 57 is the last thing we're going to do. And then if you want to do 60 on your own, you can. So 55, you'll notice something different. And that is that we have a 3-term polynomial. But the nice part is we can still use the box method. Okay, I have 2 terms on the side, right? My x and my plus 3. But I have 3 terms on the top. X squared, negative x, negative 9. And I can still multiply this together. Notice how the x is going to be multiplied by each 3 things, and the 3 is going to be multiplied by each 3 things. And if I look at my boxes, notice how I have the 3 things that are going to be multiplied by x and 3. So when I take x times x squared, I get x cubed. When I take x times negative x, I get negative x squared. When I take x times negative 9, I get negative 9x. Now when I multiply the 3, when I take 3 times x squared, I get 3x squared. When I take 3 times negative x, I get negative 3x. And when I take 3 times negative 9, I get negative 27. Now when I look at these terms, I'm just going to write them out, going across. X cubed minus x squared minus 9x. Then I go to the bottom row, plus 3x squared minus 3x minus 27. And I just combine like terms. So nothing goes with the x cubed, so that stays alone. But I have an x squared and a 3x squared, so that becomes 2x squared. Then I have a negative 9x and a negative 3x, which becomes negative 12x. And then negative 27 is by itself. All right, we're going to do one more together, and then you are done with the notes. So on 57, we need to find the product of we're multiplying a 3 by a 3. So when I do my box, I have 3t squared, negative 5t, and a 9. So I have 3 columns. And then I also have 4t squared, a negative 4t, and a 14. And I'm going to go ahead and fix that because that's going to bother me. So we're going to go ahead and draw that in. And now I just get to multiply. So I'm going to start by multiplying the 3t squared by everything in that box. So 3t squared times 4t squared is 12t to the 4th. 3t squared times negative 4t is negative 12t cubed. 3t squared times 14 is going to give me 42t squared. Then if I look at the next row, I'm taking the negative 5t times everything, and that is going to give me negative 20t cubed, and then that would give me a positive 20t squared. And then when I take negative 5t times 14, I would get negative 70t. The final thing is to multiply the 9 by each term. So 9 times 4t squared is 36t squared. 9 times negative 4t is negative 36t. And then the final one is when I take 9 times 14, and that should give me 126. Now if I look at the diagonals, I will see what I have to combine, or I can list it out. Okay, I'm going to look at the diagonals in this case because they go together. So I have my t cubes. So I start with 12t to the 4th, and then negative 20 and negative 12 gives me negative 32t to the 3rd. And then if I look at my squares, I get a lot. So if I add 36 plus 20 plus 42, that is going to give me 108t squared. And then if I put my other t's together, negative 36 and negative 70t would give me negative 106t and plus 126. And that should be my answer. Again, if you wanted to do the problem on slide 60, you can. If you need to go back through and pause the video or look back how I did it, please do so. Or you can always ask the sub.